Ambassador Minjun Park stood quietly in the great council chamber of Kepler Station. The massive room stretched high above him, its walls made of crystal that showed the stars beyond. Around the circular table sat the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Each one looked down at him with barely hidden contempt. High Counselor Zethkara of the Vorthok Empire spoke first. His reptilian scales gleamed under the chamber lights as he leaned forward. Human Ambassador, your species has tested our patience for too long. Earth continues to demand equal trading rights and territorial protection. You forget your place in this galaxy. The other council members nodded in agreement. Prime Minister Velandra floated above her seat, her energy-based form shifting between colors. Humans are useful. We admit this. Your scientists have given us interesting discoveries. Your artists create pleasant entertainment. But you are still a young species. You must accept guidance from those who have traveled the stars for millennia. General Krex clicked his mandibles together, the sound echoing in the chamber. His insect-like eyes focused on Park with cold calculation. The Hive Confederation has studied human military capabilities. Your ships are outdated. Your weapons are primitive. Your soldiers number in the millions while we command billions. Park remained silent, his hands clasped behind his back. He wore the formal diplomatic robes of Earth, simple blue fabric that seemed almost plain compared to the elaborate costumes of the alien leaders. His face showed no emotion as each council member spoke. We have prepared a new treaty, Zethkara continued, sliding a datapad across the table. Earth will become a protectorate of the Council. You will provide resources, scientific knowledge, and cultural products. In return, we will protect your world from threats and guide your development. Park picked up the datapad and read through the terms. Earth would lose all rights to independent trade. Human colonies would be dissolved. Earth's military would be disbanded except for a small police force. Humanity would essentially become servants to the galactic powers. This is not a treaty, Park said quietly. This is slavery with better words. Velandra's form flickered with annoyance. You use harsh language, human. We offer protection and guidance. Many species would be grateful for such an arrangement. And if we refuse? Park asked. The council members exchanged glances. General Krex spoke first. Then we will demonstrate why cooperation is wise. The Hive maintains 3 battle fleets in this sector alone. Each one carries more firepower than your entire planet possesses. The Celestial Alliance has moved energy-based weapons platforms to positions around your solar system, Velandra added. We can disable every electronic device on Earth with a single command. Zethkara's scales darkened with satisfaction. The Vorthak Empire has already begun producing biological weapons designed specifically for human physiology. Your resistance would last perhaps a few days. Park nodded slowly, as if considering their words. You have given this much thought. Indeed we have, Zethkara replied. Your species shows promise, but you must learn your place. Accept the treaty, and Earth will prosper under our guidance. Refuse, and we will teach you the consequences of defying the galactic order. The chamber fell silent. All eyes focused on the human ambassador. Park looked around the table, meeting each alien gaze in turn. Then, to their surprise, he smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. High Counselor, Prime Minister, General, Park said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. You have made speeches about human primitiveness. You have counted our ships and measured our weapons. You have studied our biology and our technology. But you have made one critical mistake. Which is? Zethkara demanded. Park's smile grew wider. You studied our culture, our science, even our art. But you never studied our history. General Krex clicked dismissively. Human history is brief and violent. Your species fought primitive wars with crude weapons. What relevance does this have? Quote, every relevance, Park replied. You see, Honored council members, you have just declared war on Earth, and you have no idea what you have just done. The aliens looked at each other with confusion. Valandra spoke first. We offered you terms for surrender. Where do you see a declaration of war? Park reached into his diplomatic robes and pulled out a small communication device. On Earth, we have a saying. If someone threatens to destroy your home, kill your people, and enslave your children unless you submit, that person has declared war, whether they use the word or not. He activated the device. The chamber's communication systems detected an outgoing signal, but it was encrypted beyond their ability to decode. What are you doing? Zethkara demanded, rising from his seat. I am sending a message to my government, Park replied calmly. A single word that will inform them of your decision. The device played a soft melody. The aliens did not recognize it, but it was the opening notes of Korea's national anthem. Throughout the galaxy, humans in positions they had held for decades received the same melody on their personal communicators. Dr. Sarah Chen, working in a Vorthak research facility, heard the tune while examining alien biological samples. She smiled and began typing new commands into her computer. Captain Yuki Tanaka, commanding what appeared to be a simple mining vessel, heard the melody while his ship drifted near a major trade route. He walked to his bridge and gave orders to his crew. Agent David Kim, serving as a technical advisor to the Celestial Alliance military, heard the song while reviewing energy weapon specifications. He quietly began accessing classified files. Thousands of humans across the galaxy received the same signal. Scientists, traders, engineers, cultural exchange students, and workers in every field. Each one had been in their position for years, some for decades. Each one had been waiting for this moment. What message did you send? General Krex demanded. Park deactivated his communicator and returned it to his robes. I told them that the masquerade is over. For 200 years, humanity has lived peacefully among you. We have traded, learned, shared our culture and knowledge. We hoped this day would never come. What day? Valandra asked, her energy form flickering with uncertainty. The day we had to remind the galaxy why Earth is the only planet in known space where every life form has evolved to kill every other life form, Park replied. The day we had to show you what a species looks like when survival is not just learned behavior, but genetic programming. The ambassador straightened his robes and moved toward the chamber exit. You wanted to teach humanity about consequences, honored council. Consider the lesson about to begin. Over. The alien leaders watched in growing confusion as the human diplomat walked away, his footsteps echoing in the suddenly quiet chamber. None of them understood that they had just awakened something that had been sleeping for 2 centuries. Something that had never stopped preparing for this exact moment. Dr. Sarah Chen looked up from her microscope as the soft melody finished playing on her communicator. Around her, the Vorthak research facility hummed with activity. Reptilian scientists worked at their stations, completely unaware that everything was about to change. Sarah had worked here for 15 years. The Vorthak Empire believed she was studying alien plant life to help Earth develop better agriculture. They were wrong. Sarah had spent those 15 years mapping every weakness in Vorthak biology, every vulnerability in their immune systems, every flaw in their genetic structure. She walked calmly to her personal workstation and began typing. Her fingers moved quickly across the keyboard, entering commands that would release carefully designed biological agents into the facility's air circulation system. Nothing fatal, but within hours, every Vorthak in the building would be too sick to work. Similar actions were taking place across the galaxy. Captain Yuki Tanaka stood on the bridge of the mining vessel, Peaceful Harvest. His crew moved with practiced efficiency around him. To any observer, they looked like typical human miners preparing for another day of asteroid extraction. Captain, his communications officer called out, we're receiving standard mining reports from all sectors. Tanaka nodded. The mining reports were actually position updates from human vessels throughout the galaxy. Ships that appeared to be cargo haulers, research vessels, and civilian transports. All of them were something else entirely. "Send acknowledgement to all stations," Tanaka ordered. "Begin Operation Sunrise." The mining ship's external hull began to shift and change. Panels slid away to reveal weapon systems that should not exist. The cargo holds opened to launch fighter craft that had been hidden inside fake mining equipment. Within minutes, the peaceful civilian vessel had transformed into a fully armed dreadnought. Across human space, similar transformations were taking place. The galaxy's primitive human fleet was revealing its true nature. Agent David Kim sat in the Celestial Alliance military headquarters, reviewing energy weapon specifications as he had done for the past 10 years. The ethereal beings around him considered him a useful technical advisor, someone who helped maintain their advanced systems. They had no idea that David had been slowly introducing flaws into their weapon designs, tiny errors that would cause their energy weapons to overload under stress. Subtle programming changes that would make their targeting systems unreliable during combat. Small modifications that would cripple their entire military when activated. David accessed his hidden files and began sending activation codes. Throughout the Celestial Alliance fleet, weapon systems began developing mysterious malfunctions. The signal that Ambassador Park had sent was more than just a message. It was the activation code for the largest intelligence operation in galactic history. For 200 years, humanity had been placing agents throughout alien society. Every human who left Earth did so with a specific mission. Scientists were tasked with studying alien weaknesses. Traders mapped supply lines and critical resources. Engineers learned how alien technology worked and how to disable it. Cultural exchange students observed alien psychology and behavior patterns. The galaxy had welcomed humans as peaceful newcomers. They never suspected that Earth was conducting the most comprehensive military intelligence operation ever attempted. High above Earth, alien fleets began arriving for what they expected to be a quick demonstration of force. The lead Vorthok commander looked down at the blue-green planet with satisfaction. Scans showed only light defensive installations and a small patrol fleet. "Hail the human government," the commander ordered. "Tell them we are here to accept their surrender." The response came quickly, but it was not what they expected. "Vorthok Fleet, this is Admiral Rosa Martinez of Earth Defense Command. You are ordered to leave this system immediately or face the consequences." The alien commander laughed, a sound like grinding stones. "Human Admiral, our fleet consists of 300 warships. Your scans show perhaps 50 vessels defending your world. Surrender now and avoid unnecessary bloodshed." "Commander," Admiral Martinez replied, "I suggest you run another scan." The Vorthok commander frowned and ordered a detailed sensor sweep. The results made his blood run cold. Earth was surrounded by thousands of defense platforms, massive weapons installations that had been hidden using technology the aliens did not recognize. The small patrol fleet was actually hundreds of warships using advanced stealth systems. "How is this possible?" the commander whispered. 200 years of preparation," Martinez answered. "While you assumed we were primitive, we were learning. While you thought we were weak, we were building. Every human who worked in your shipyards studied your designs. Every human who served on your vessels mapped your weaknesses. The alien fleet's sensors detected movement throughout the solar system. Asteroids were shifting position, revealing themselves to be mobile weapons platforms. What they had thought were mining operations were actually military installations. Earth's true defensive network was beyond anything the galaxy had seen. It combined the best of alien technology with human innovation and 2 centuries of careful planning. Similar revelations were occurring throughout the galaxy. Human colonies that appeared defenseless were revealing hidden military installations. Trade stations were launching fighter squadrons. Research outposts were activating weapon systems. The Hive Confederation's military networks began experiencing massive system failures. General Krex watched in horror as his carefully coordinated fleets lost communication with each other. How are they doing this? He demanded of his technicians. Sir, it appears that subtle programming errors have been accumulating in our systems for years. They're all activating simultaneously. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. The Prime Minister of the Celestial Alliance received similar reports. Their energy-based weapons were overloading across the galaxy. Their supposedly impenetrable quantum communication networks were being jammed by techniques that should not exist. Back on Kepler Station, the council members who had threatened Earth just hours earlier were receiving impossible reports from their militaries. Our biological weapons facilities have been compromised, Zethkara reported, his voice shaking. Someone introduced counter-agents into our most secure laboratories. Our energy weapon platforms around Earth have gone offline, Velandra added. The humans somehow learned to disrupt our quantum matrices. My fleet coordination networks are in chaos, General Krex confirmed. It's as if someone has been sabotaging our systems for decades. They were beginning to understand the true scope of what had happened. Humanity had not simply prepared for war. They had turned the galaxy's own strength against it. Every human who had worked for alien governments had been an intelligence agent. Every piece of technology they had been allowed to study had been analyzed for weaknesses. Every friendship they had formed had been used to gather critical information. The aliens had welcomed humans into their society, never realizing they were inviting in the most patient and thorough military intelligence network in galactic history. Earth had spent 2 centuries learning everything there was to know about alien technology, biology, psychology, and military doctrine. They had identified every weakness, every vulnerability, every point of failure. And now, in a single coordinated moment, they were exploiting all of it. The peaceful species that the galaxy had dismissed as primitive had just demonstrated something terrifying. Humans were not just capable of learning from their enemies. They were capable of learning from their enemies while pretending to be friends. The galaxy was about to discover what happened when a species that had evolved to survive against impossible odds decided to stop hiding its true nature. Fleet Admiral Rosa Martinez stood in the command center of Earth Defense Headquarters. The massive screens around her showed the positions of alien fleets throughout the solar system. 3 separate alien armadas had arrived, expecting to find a helpless world. Instead, they found themselves trapped in the most sophisticated defensive network ever created. Admiral, her tactical officer reported, the Vorthak fleet is attempting to retreat to minimum safe distance. Denied, Martinez replied calmly. Activate the outer perimeter platforms. Across the solar system, hidden weapons installations came online. What the aliens had thought were empty regions of space suddenly filled with energy signatures. Massive railguns, plasma cannons, and missile platforms that had been disguised as asteroids revealed themselves. The Vorthok commander found his fleet surrounded. His ships, designed for warfare against other advanced civilizations, suddenly seemed primitive compared to the weapons targeting them. Human Admiral, he transmitted. We demand safe passage from this system. Our withdrawal should end hostilities. Martinez's response was broadcast on all frequencies so that every alien vessel could hear it. Commander, you came here to conquer Earth. You threatened to enslave our people. Did you think we would simply let you leave to try again later? The alien commander's confusion was shared throughout the attacking fleets. They had expected Earth to either surrender immediately or engage in conventional space combat. Instead, they found themselves facing tactics that made no sense according to established military doctrine. Admiral, came another report. The Celestial Alliance is attempting to use their energy forms to infiltrate our computer systems directly. Activate the quantum barriers, Martinez ordered, and deploy the psychological warfare packages. The ethereal beings of the Celestial Alliance had always considered themselves superior in warfare because they could phase through matter and directly interface with electronic systems. They had never encountered humans who understood their nature well enough to design specific countermeasures. As the energy-based aliens tried to penetrate Earth's networks, they were met with quantum barriers that trapped them in isolated data loops. Worse, the humans had prepared psychological warfare specifically designed for energy-based consciousness. The aliens found themselves experiencing human emotions, human fears, human memories of war and destruction. For beings who had never known physical fear or pain, the experience was devastating. Meanwhile, Commander Hiroshi Sato led a special operations team aboard a captured Celestial Alliance vessel. His soldiers wore modified environment suits that made them appear to be standard maintenance workers. The mission was simple but unthinkable to alien military minds. Instead of engaging in honorable combat, they would infiltrate enemy vessels by pretending to be harmless support staff. "Remember," Sato whispered to his team as they approached the Vorthak flagship, "these beings have never dealt with deception in warfare. They consider it dishonorable. Use that against them." The team's shuttle docked with the enemy ship without challenge. Sato and his soldiers walked through the corridors of the massive vessel, their fake identification badges passing every security check. The Vorthak guards saw only human maintenance workers, exactly what the records said they should expect. It was a level of deception that no alien species would attempt. Their concept of warfare involved honorable combat between clearly identified enemies. The idea of disguising soldiers as civilians was beyond their understanding. 20 minutes later, Sato's team had taken control of the flagship's bridge. The Vorthak admiral found himself staring at human soldiers who had appeared from nowhere. "How did you get here?" the admiral demanded. "We walked," Sato replied simply. "Your security systems expect honor in warfare. Humans learned long ago that survival matters more than honor." The capture of the Vorthak flagship was broadcast throughout the galaxy. Admiral Martinez spoke directly to the alien populations, watching their leaders defeat. "People of the galaxy," she began, "your leaders started a war they never intended to fight. They thought they were playing a game with rules and limitations. Humans do not play games when our survival is at stake." The broadcast continued as Martinez explained the reality of human warfare. "For 200 years, we have lived peacefully among you. We hoped this day would never come. But while you forgot how to fight for your lives, we never stopped remembering." On the screens behind her, footage played of human operations across the galaxy. Biological weapons facilities crippled by their own research subjects. Communication networks jammed by their own technology. Supply lines disrupted by the very humans who had helped build them. "This is not a war," Martinez continued. "This is a lesson. Your species evolved beyond the need for survival instincts. Ours did not. You fight with rules and honor codes. We fight to win." The alien fleets around Earth found themselves facing tactics that violated every principle of civilized warfare. Human vessels used kamikaze drones that the aliens' defensive systems were not designed to stop. They employed psychological warfare that targeted species-specific fears and instincts. They used the aliens' own honor codes against them by pretending to surrender. Then, striking when their enemies lowered their guard. High Counselor Zeth Kara watched the battle reports with growing horror. "This is not how civilized beings conduct warfare," he protested during an emergency council session. "That is exactly the point," Ambassador Park replied via communication link. "You declared war on a species that never became civilized enough to forget how to fight, like animals." The Hive Confederation's response came next. General Krex deployed his massive swarm fleets, confident that sheer numbers would overwhelm human defenses. The insectoid vessels moved in perfect coordination, their hive mind allowing instantaneous communication and flawless execution of complex maneuvers. The humans responded with something the hive had never encountered: chaos. Instead of meeting the swarm with organized formations, human fleets scattered in seemingly random patterns. They used unpredictable tactics, individual ship commanders making decisions without central coordination. The Hive's perfect unity became a weakness when facing opponents who thrived on improvisation and independent action. Commander Sato, now aboard the captured Vorthak flagship, demonstrated another aspect of human warfare. He used the alien vessel's communication systems to broadcast false orders to other Vorthak ships. Within hours, the enemy fleet was in chaos as ships received contradictory commands. "This is treachery," the Vorthak admiral protested. "This is war," Sato replied. "Your mistake was thinking there's a difference." Throughout the galaxy, human agents activated the final phase of their long preparation. Dr. Sarah Chen's biological weapons began affecting Vorthak military installations. David Kim's sabotage programs crashed Celestial Alliance weapons systems. Captain Tanaka's hidden fleet engaged enemy vessels using tactics no alien commander had ever studied. The most devastating realization for the alien powers was not that humans had superior technology or numbers. It was that humans understood something they had forgotten. In true warfare, there are no rules except victory or extinction. Prime Minister Velandra attempted one last strategic move. She ordered her energy-based forces to target Earth's civilian population centers, believing that humans would surrender to protect non-combatants. The response was immediate and terrifying. Every human agent throughout the galaxy received new orders simultaneously. The gloves were off. Within hours, alien civilian infrastructure began shutting down. Power grids failed. Transportation networks stopped functioning. Food distribution systems collapsed. The humans had spent 2 centuries learning not just how to destroy alien military forces, but how to cripple entire civilizations if necessary. Admiral Martinez sent a final message to the alien leaders. "You targeted our families. Now you will learn why humans are the only species in the galaxy that has never lost a war, fought for survival." The galaxy was beginning to understand that they had not declared war on another civilization. They had declared war on evolution itself, on a species whose every instinct had been shaped by the need to survive against impossible odds. And they were losing. Ambassador Park walked through the corridors of Kepler Station, no longer wearing diplomatic robes. Instead, he wore the simple uniform of Earth Intelligence Command. The alien guards who had once looked down on him now stepped aside with fearful respect. Behind him, the council chambers had become a crisis coordination center. Representatives from across the galaxy worked desperately to understand how their perfect civilizations had collapsed so quickly. "Status report," Park said as he entered the main operations room. His aide, Captain Elena Rodriguez, looked up from a wall of displays showing the galaxy's condition. "Vorthak Empire has lost 60% of its military capability," Rodriguez reported. "Their biological weapons program has been completely neutralized. 17 of their major worlds are experiencing system-wide infrastructure failures." Park nodded and moved to the next display. Worse, their energy-based nature made them vulnerable to quantum disruption techniques. "We've managed to trap most of their fleet command structure in data loops. Their military coordination has collapsed entirely. And the Hive Confederation?" Rodriguez's expression darkened. "General Krex's hive mind network has been compromised. Our psychological warfare specialists managed to introduce conflicting thoughts into their collective consciousness. They're fighting each other as much as they're fighting us. Being first Crisis. Being for. Park studied the displays, showing the galaxy's major trade routes, communication networks, and defense installations. 200 years of careful positioning had given humanity leverage over every critical system. When the war began, humans did not just attack military targets. They attacked the foundation of alien civilization itself. On the planet Vorthak Prime, High Counselor Zeth Kara stood in his government's emergency bunker as reports poured in from across his empire. Power grids that had operated flawlessly for centuries were shutting down. Transportation networks were failing. Even basic communication systems were experiencing mysterious malfunctions. "How are they doing this?" he demanded of his advisors. "Sir," his chief of intelligence replied, "it appears that humans have been embedded in critical positions throughout our infrastructure for decades. Every human engineer, every human technical advisor, every human maintenance worker has been part of a coordinated intelligence operation." The scope of the deception was staggering. Humans had not simply prepared for war. They had positioned themselves to destroy alien society from within. Every power plant that employed human engineers had hidden vulnerabilities programmed into its systems. Every communication relay that used human-designed components had backdoors that could be exploited. Every transportation hub that relied on human maintenance staff had been quietly modified to fail on command. Prime Minister Velandra found herself in a similar situation. Her energy-based people had always considered themselves superior because they could exist as pure consciousness. They had never imagined that humans could learn to manipulate the quantum fields that sustained their existence. "Our people are experiencing something unprecedented," her science advisor reported. "The humans have found a way to force physical sensations onto our energy matrices. Fear, pain, confusion, emotions we have not felt for millennia." The psychological warfare was devastating to beings who had evolved beyond such primitive responses. For the first time in their species' history, the Celestial Alliance was experiencing what humans called terror. General Krex faced the worst situation of all. The Hive Confederation's greatest strength, their shared consciousness, had become their greatest weakness. Human agents had spent decades studying hive mind psychology, learning how to introduce viral thoughts that spread through the collective network like a disease. "The outer swarms are no longer responding to Central Command," his tactical coordinator reported. "They seem to be operating under conflicting imperatives." Krex's compound eyes focused on the tactical displays. His perfect military machine was tearing itself apart as different sections of the hive received contradictory commands embedded in their shared consciousness. Back on Kepler Station, Park received an urgent communication from Earth. Admiral Martinez appeared on the main screen, her expression serious. "Ambassador, we're ready for the final phase. All target systems have been compromised. Alien military resistance is minimal. We can proceed with complete termination of hostile civilizations, if necessary." The room fell silent. Even Captain Rodriguez, who had helped plan the operation, looked shocked at how thoroughly their preparations had succeeded. Park considered his options. 2 centuries of planning had given humanity the power to destroy every major civilization in the galaxy. They could render alien worlds uninhabitable, crash their economies, and eliminate their ability to pose any future threat. It would be genocide on a galactic scale. "Admiral," Park replied, "maintain current positions, but hold termination protocols. We have another option to consider." He turned to Rodriguez. "Open a channel to all council members. It's time for them to understand their situation completely." Moments later, the surviving alien leaders appeared on screens around the room. High Counselor Zethkara, Prime Minister Velandra, and General Krex all looked haggard and defeated. "Honored Council," Park began, "you are experiencing the consequences of declaring war on Earth. Your military forces have been neutralized. Your infrastructure systems are under our control. Your civilizations are completely at our mercy. What do you want?" Zethkara asked, his voice barely a whisper. "I want you to understand what humanity is," Park replied. "You studied our culture and thought we were primitive. You examined our technology and thought we were weak. You counted our ships and thought we were helpless, but you never understood what makes us human." He gestured to the displays showing the galaxy's condition. "For 200 years, we prepared for this moment. Every human who left Earth did so with a mission. Every friendship we formed, every alliance we built, every piece of knowledge we gained was part of the most comprehensive intelligence operation in galactic history. You used our trust against us, Velandra accused. We used your arrogance against you, Park corrected. You assumed that a species you considered primitive could never threaten your advanced civilizations. You were wrong. General Krex spoke with difficulty, his hive mind clearly struggling with the conflicting thoughts humans had introduced. What happens now? Do you destroy us all? Park was quiet for a moment, considering the weight of the decision before him. Humanity now had the power to remake the galaxy according to their will. They could eliminate the alien threat forever, ensuring that no other species would ever again threaten Earth. That choice, Park said finally, will depend on whether you can learn from your mistakes. He activated another display showing Earth's military forces positioned throughout the galaxy. We did not want this war. We spent 2 centuries hoping this day would never come. But when you forced our hand, you discovered what happens when a species that evolved to survive against impossible odds decides to stop pretending to be harmless. You have 2 options, Park continued. You can continue to resist, in which case, we will demonstrate that our current response has been merciful compared to what we are truly capable of. Or you can accept new terms that acknowledge the reality of our situation. The alien leaders exchanged glances through their communication links. They had started this conflict, believing they were disciplining an upstart species. Now they realized they had awakened something far more dangerous than they had imagined. What terms? Zeth Kara asked. Park smiled. The same expression he had worn when the Council first declared war on Earth. Terms that ensure this never happens again. Terms that guarantee humanity's security while allowing your species to survive and prosper under new management. The galaxy was about to learn that humans did not simply win wars. They remade the worlds of their enemies to ensure that those enemies could never threaten them again. And they were very good at it. 5 years later, Secretary General Min Jun Park stood at the window of his office overlooking Earth's capital. The building that had once housed only human government now served as headquarters for the Galactic Union. Ships from across the galaxy came and went from the orbital platforms above, their crews working together in ways that would have been impossible before the war. Captain Elena Rodriguez entered the office, carrying reports from across the galaxy. She had been promoted to Director of Interspecies Relations, a position that required managing the delicate balance between human leadership and alien autonomy. The quarterly reports from all sectors, she said, placing the data tablets on Park's desk. Overall, the transition continues to proceed smoothly. Park picked up the first report and smiled at the contents. Vorthak, agricultural output is up 15%. Their new irrigation systems are working well. The human engineers have been teaching them sustainable farming techniques, Rodriguez confirmed. High Counselor Zeth Kara says his people are eating better than they have in centuries. The former Vorthak leader had initially resented human oversight of his empire. But when Earth's agricultural specialists had shown his people how to triple their food production while healing their damaged ecosystems, his attitude had changed. Humans, it turned out, were much better at building than destroying. What about the Celestial Alliance? Park asked. Prime Minister Velandra reports that the new quantum stabilization systems are working perfectly. Her people are actually grateful for the modifications we made to their energy matrices. During the war, humans had learned to disrupt Celestial Alliance energy forms. In peacetime, they had used that same knowledge to strengthen them. The ethereal beings now experienced greater stability and coherence than ever before. What had been a weapon became a gift. And General Krex? Rodriguez grinned. The Hive Confederation has requested permission to expand their population by 20%. They say the individual decision-making protocols we introduced have made them more efficient, not less. This had been the most surprising development. Humans had introduced independent thought into the hive mind as a weapon, expecting it to cause chaos. Instead, it had allowed the insectoid species to become more creative and adaptable. The hive was now stronger than it had ever been. Park walked to a wall display showing the galaxy's current political structure. The old council of competing empires had been replaced by a cooperative union with Earth at its center. But this was not human domination through force. It was human leadership through demonstrated competence. "Any problems with the new colonies?" Park asked. "3 systems have requested human administrators to help with infrastructure development," Rodriguez reported. "The Andromedans specifically asked for more human engineers after seeing what we accomplished on Vega Prime." Park nodded. This was how the new order worked. Humans did not rule through fear or military force. They ruled by being genuinely better at solving problems than anyone else. When alien worlds faced challenges, they asked for human help because humans delivered results. What about military matters? Admiral Martinez reports that the integrated fleet exercises went exceptionally well. The mixed species crews are performing better than anyone expected. This was perhaps the most remarkable change. The galaxy's defensive forces now consisted of integrated fleets with humans, Vorthax, Celestial Alliance energy beings, and Hive Confederation members working side by side. The humans provided tactical leadership and innovative thinking. The aliens provided their unique capabilities and perspectives. Together, they were more powerful than any single species had been alone. A soft chime indicated that Park had a scheduled appointment. The door opened to admit a group of young beings from across the galaxy. Humans, Vorthax, Ethereal Celestial Alliance youth, and juvenile members of the Hive Confederation entered together. "Secretary General," the group leader said with a slight bow, "we're here for our final briefing before the diplomatic mission to the Outer Rim territories." Park smiled at the sight. The group represented the future of the galaxy. Young beings from different species working together as a team. They had grown up in the new order, learning to see each other as allies rather than competitors. "Are you ready for your first contact with potentially hostile species?" Park asked. A young human woman named Lisa Kim stepped forward. "We understand that new species often fear contact with the Galactic Union. Our mission is to show them that cooperation benefits everyone." "And if they refuse to listen?" Park asked. A young Vorthok answered this time. "Then we follow the human protocols. We demonstrate the consequences of aggression while offering the benefits of alliance." Park was proud of what these young people represented. They had learned humanity's most important lesson. Strength was not about the ability to destroy enemies, but about the ability to turn enemies into friends. "Remember," Park told them, "the galaxy is safer now, not because humans conquered it, but because humans taught everyone else how to work together for mutual benefit." As the young diplomats left for their mission, Rodriguez stayed behind to discuss one final matter. "The memorial service for the war victims is scheduled for next month," she said quietly. "Both human and alien casualties will be honored." Park's expression grew serious. The war had been necessary, but it had cost lives on all sides. The new galactic order honored those who had died by ensuring that such a conflict could never happen again. "Any requests for the ceremony?" High Counselor Zethkara asked if he could speak about the lessons his people learned. "Prime Minister Velandra wants to discuss how the war taught her people about emotions they had forgotten. General Krex wishes to explain how humans showed the Hive the value of individual thought." Park nodded. The former enemies had become some of humanity's strongest supporters. They understood better than anyone what Earth had given them. Not just victory in war, but a better way to live in peace. "One more thing," Rodriguez added. "The long-range exploration fleets have made contact with 3 new species in the outer galaxies. All of them have expressed interest in joining the Galactic Union." "Peaceful contact?" "Completely peaceful. Word of our success has spread beyond our galaxy. Other species are coming to us, seeking the stability and prosperity we've created." Park looked out at the stars, thinking about how much had changed. 5 years ago, the galaxy had been a collection of competing empires, each convinced of their own superiority. Now, it was a cooperative union where different species shared their strengths to overcome common challenges. The transformation had not happened through conquest or forced submission. It had happened because humans had demonstrated a simple truth. Survival was easier when everyone worked together. Schedule meetings with the new species, Park decided. Let's show them what we've built here. As Rodriguez left to make the arrangements, Park remained at the window. In the distance, construction crews were working on a new orbital platform. Humans, Vorthax, Celestial Alliance beings, and Hive members labored side by side, building something greater than any of them could have created alone. The galaxy had learned humanity's greatest secret. The strongest species was not the one that could destroy all others, but the one that could unite all others in common cause. On his desk, a small plaque displayed the motto of the new Galactic Union in every known language. Peace through strength, strength through unity, unity through understanding. It was a lesson written in the stars, taught by the species that had once been dismissed as primitive. Earth had shown the galaxy that true civilization was not about advancing beyond the need for survival instincts. It was about using those instincts to protect not just your own species, but all life, capable of reason and growth. The galaxy was safer, stronger, and more prosperous than it had ever been. And at its center stood humanity, the species that had turned the art of war into the science of lasting peace.